What makes these two individuals different is that their father is Creole, which is kind of like a black person. Your father is black, correct?
Yeah, my father is dark skinned.
And what's the story with him, and how did he become Amish?
Well, I don't really know exactly how it happened but he was adopted to the Amish in Barton Creek. I think he was like 3 or 4 years old when he was adopted. So he grew up as a Mennonite. So he learned all the Mennonite rules and ways of living, and got married there and has his family there. So that is how I exist. And yeah, it was we had a good family. It was a nice time there.
And how many siblings do you have?
I have 4 sisters and 6 brothers.
So there's 11 of you guys.
Yes.
How was it growing up in that community? Because you guys do look a little bit different.
Well, it was a little bit hard because the Mennonites are a little bit more like racist. So they have their, as soon as there's somebody that's a little bit different, they are like a little bit funny. Sometimes they like to like go around you, not have you as a real friend. So my real friends were like basically my cousins. I had a lot of other friends, but it always seemed like they were a little bit shy. They didn't really pay much attention to us.
So Willis, why did you decide to leave the church and the community?
Well, I wanted to see more different things than I was having there, because there it's just like the rules and you gotta stay in that net. You cannot get out and ride a bicycle, drive a motorbike or nothing. You're tied up in that net. And I wanted to see more stuff and try more stuff, and it didn't make sense with all their rules. You can't do this, you can't do that, like you're just tied up. So that was the reason I came out and started doing different things, and for me that was fun. But at the same time, I enjoyed a lot of their things, and I still do. Driving horses, riding horses is still what I like to do. But then I don't like to live there, because then if you want to live there, you have to be tied up with their rules.
I was born in Upper Barton Creek
Mm-hmm.
as a Mennonite and lived among the Mennonites, grew up there until I was 22. And then we had some issues among the Mennonites, so I moved out into the society. So that is where I am staying right now, doing construction work and trying to make a living. And actually I enjoy it out here. It's a good life. Nobody is really bothering me or things like that. So having a good life here.
I'm Willis Perez. I'm born in Lamaluce, Cayo Hospital. I grew up as a Mennonite, driving horse and buggy, plowing with bulls and horses, doing different kind of jobs, farming. I left the community age 18. I moved out here, got used to having different stuff, driving cars. I have my phone, and I enjoy it out here, doing different jobs. As right now, I do about from everything. I have a business of my own, welding. I do construction, and I do mechanic, just like from everything.
And so, like, how was your life growing up as a Amish Mennonite?
It was really interesting. Well, that's the only thing we knew at the time. Just get up every morning, do your chores, either milking cows or whatever, feeding pigs, chickens, and after that go to your field, plant stuff, cabbage or tomatoes or harvesting. There's always jobs, either working with cows as well. Yeah.
And same for you. How was your life growing up in the Springfield community here in Belize?
Well, it was very interesting. Like, you have a job every day. Once you live on the farm, you have something to do every day. It's not like if you are on a business and one day you don't have the materials to work, so you have a day off. On the farm, you have to do this, you have to do that, or there's always work to do. And if you don't have work on your own, then you go find work by the neighbors or help the neighbors with something, either just for charity or they will pay you. And that is what I did quite a bit. I worked a lot with neighbors. They would hire me to do things for them. And I also worked a lot on my dad's farm, which was very interesting.
And what did you guys grow? What did you guys cultivate?
I would plant like potatoes, sweet peppers, tomatoes, and cabbage. A big variety. That was what I would usually do at first, but then there was this problem with diseases and things like that, so I started doing more working with sawmill and construction work, because it was like easier to do and less chemicals. So that is what I would usually do. I did from 1st grade to 8th grade, and school was interesting and boring as well. And I don't know, I always made a lot of problem in school, but still I enjoyed school, and it was where I learned a lot of things. Well, we studied like math. Arithmetic is one of the basics, and then they study reading, writing, vocabulary, and things like that. They just study like the basics.
And are you guys doing this in English, or what languages are you guys doing this in?
The main is in English, and then they have this this High German, the German from Germany. But that one, the German, I never really learned that one very good.
Okay, then you also speak Pennsylvania Dutch?
Yes, Pennsylvania Dutch was my home language. My dad had a herd of cattle. I think it was like 45 cows. So that is where a lot of time went in, and I paid a lot of interest in that. So I did almost all of his cattle works, like giving them their vitamins and things like that. So I did quite a bit of veterinary work in Springfield.
And to the people who don't understand, like what a Amish or a Mennonite, the kind of types that you guys are, how would you describe the Springfield community in comparison to Shipyard or Spanish Lookout, because those are also Mennonite communities?
Well, for me, I would say the Mennonites in Springfield, they are very traditional, and they are, how should I say it, they are very different from the ones in Shipyard, because the people in Shipyard, they use cell phones, and if I'm not mistaken, they have like fridges and things like that, which the people in Springfield don't have. They don't use electricity
At all?
none at all.
What about for any gas powered or
They use, like, for their machinery, furniture shops, they use the horsepower, and there are some that use the water wheel. That is how they turn their machineries, and their sawmill is all turned by horsepower.
Okay, and as a young person, what did you do for fun? Like, what was the enjoyable things that you did in Springfield?
I did quite a bit of hiking, which was my fun. And when I was like 18, 19, I started a little more with hunting, and hunting was one of my favorites. So I did quite a bit of that.
And do Amish people play sports like when they're young? Like, is there any basketball or football or anything like that that's played in the community?
No, they don't have any games like the youth. They don't come together to play games. It's every 2 weeks the youth come together as a youth singing. But that is about it. They don't have like basketball, volleyball, or anything like that.
How was your time growing up in Springfield? Like, what did you do for fun? And just what was your like memories about that place?
Well, it's kind of hard to say because at times I feel like I've been out here already, that I kind of forgot what I did. And I was kind of young then, so I really didn't work as for making money, because the rule there is you can't work to make money for yourself until 21. So I left at the age of 18, so I never worked there making money for myself. But I liked hiking and riding horses. That was fun for me, and I loved it. And driving bulls, training them, stuff like that was really fun, because there's movements in that you don't see if a bull is in the pasture, but once you put a rope and put the yoke on them to drive them, you really see some movements and stuff that's really interesting. Because if you just see a bull in the pasture, they're always like calm, probably laying down or eating grass, but wait until you put the rope, you will see them kicking and barking like crazy. I mean, stuff like that was really fun.
And why did you decide to leave the church, or did you get kicked out?
Well, there were a lot of reasons. I will not mention all of them because some of them are private reasons. But the main reason was why I left there was because I found out that they were not dealing fair. They were like not impartial. They had these people here that thought that they were better than others, and it just happened so that they thought I was one of the bad ones. So they said that if you can't come up to exact all of our rules, then we will have to excommunicate. So that is where I just told them that I can't live up to all of their rules. They have rules about the beard. You can't trim your beard. You have to let it grow as it grows. And I said that I can't live up to that.
But what was difficult about the beard? Because is this something that grows and you don't have to worry about it?
Yeah, but still, if you have a big beard, then it's very unhandy. I know a few people in Springfield that they have a big beard and they say they don't like it. But then since they're in that religion, under those rules, they just leave it like that.
So to the people that don't know what excommunication means, what does it mean and what does it involve?
Excommunication would mean, as I was a member of the church and now they excommunicated me, I cannot go there and have like a meal with them. They won't eat with me. And I can go there for a visit, but it's like very strict. They will really watch to whom I speak and what I will talk to people. But other than that, excommunication is just like a church religion.
And so you've been out for 2 years now?
A little over 3 years.
A little over 3 years. And for both of you guys, like the first 3 months, just when you get out of the community, how difficult was life? Or how was life like?
Well, for me it wasn't difficult. The first day I came out, I had a job which was very interesting to me. Then I started doing some farming out here with my uncle together, and it seemed like everything just worked just fine for me. Like, I don't know, I enjoyed everything. I learned stuff very easy, and it was nice. I thought it would probably be harder to leave my family behind and just can't go there every day and talk to them, but I soon got used to it, that I was just out here and I couldn't go there every day to talk with them, but I still do go and visit them, and that's about how it went for me.
And how was it for you, like when you got out of the when you got excommunicated? how difficult was it for you, like mentally, having to leave the community?
Well, for me, it was kind of hard to leave the community because I grew up there and I was living among the people for so long. But then it took me like a week and a half till I got a little used to things out here, and until I got my job. And after I got my job, it was much easier because then I had something to do, not just sit around and think about things in Springfield and like that. So for me right now, I would say I have a fair life.
And your mom, your dad, your brothers, your other family members in Springfield, what did they say to you guys? Like, how did they handle the situation that you are excommunicated and that you are leaving? How was it for them, and what did they say to you?
Well, like my family, they had it a little bit hard when I left because they thought that I was going in the wrong direction. Like, for them, they say that as soon as you're not one of them anymore, like one of the people there, Mennonite, if you go to society or any other church, that you're going to the wrong place. So for them, they think that only they are the ones that are on the right, which I don't believe is that way.
And then how did your dad handle it for you?
Well, they kind of had it hard for me, and they always came talking to me for hours at times, kind of crying and wanting me to come back, but I always said no, that I don't want to go back, because when I was there, when I was like 16 and 17, I always felt like I was put a little bit to the side. I had a lot of ideas, but I always felt like they never thought that my ideas would work or so. And maybe it could have been that not all of them would have worked, but I mean, everybody once in a while has an idea and you have to give them a chance to try. So that's one reason I left, because I felt like I wasn't being approved in my ideas or whatever, because if you're always pushed to the side, you will not be happy there. So that's why I came out, and it was hard for them. They always came talking to me, but after some time they stopped coming. I didn't receive letters from them anymore, and they kind of left me. Now they actually never come and visit me anymore.
But you visit them?
I do.
And you were explaining that there's a difference between you and him, that because you were part of the church and you got baptized, and that he just left before baptism. Like, what's the difference between those two individuals or cases?
Well, once you are baptized there, they have a bunch of articles that they give you before they baptize you, and so it is like a promise that you make that you will respect the church rules and things like that. So if you disrespect those rules, then you are not part of the church anymore. So that is where we have a little bit of difference. For me, it is hard to go back there and visit with them. Like, as for him, it is not, because he never promised those rules as I have.
And for both of you guys, have you guys ever thought about going back to the church and having regret, like living this life?
I have never regret that I am out here, free life, where I can work, because for me, I have a lot of job out here, and as people get to know me, it seems like everybody that gets to know me, they give me a job, which is really interesting, how quick it is to get job out here. I have never regret that I'm out here. Of course, I'm thankful of the things that I learned there, because I think that helps a lot, the stuff I learned there. Growing up on a farm, then coming out here, I think that was a big help for me.
What do you think you guys learned that helps you prepare for the outside world?
Well, for me, I don't know what all they teach in high school nowadays in the world here, but the Mennonites in Springfield, they don't teach high school. And once you are through 8th grade, then you're working on the farm, and you have your experience. You try something, and if it doesn't work, you try again, and if it still don't work, you go and ask somebody how to do it, and they will explain it to you, and you try again. So that is where I learned a lot of my basics from construction work and things like that. I tried to build things, and if it didn't work, I would take it apart and rebuild it until I was successful. So that is one thing. The people in Springfield, the Amish, they don't have like computers and things like that. They will just do all their things manual, and they will try their things on the farm. Well, one thing is, some of the people that went to high school, the guys I'm working with right now, I can notice that they don't have their mind on the things they're doing. They learned everything maybe on computer or on internet how to do things, and now when they're supposed to do it in action for real, then they don't know how to do it, because they don't know how to use a measuring tape. Maybe on the internet they learned how to use the 1/8, the quarters, and all of that, and now in action they don't know which marks to use. So that is one thing I had to learn. Two of the guys that I'm working with now, how to read their measuring tape. And for me, it is just this way, that learning things on computer is, in a way, is good, but then on other hand, it is not as good as learning it in action.
So you're basically like thankful for the upbringing that you got, because in the real world, what the people in Springfield, the Amish in Springfield preach and do by practice, it actually works in this world, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I'm very thankful for what I learned over there. That is, I think it's being very helpful for me.
What things are you going to give to your children, and what cultural things are you going to keep for yourself that you learned as a young person being a Amish person?
Well, for me, if I get married and have children, I would try to teach my children a lot of the ways in the Amish in Springfield have, for as I think it would be a big help for the future. And as myself, I would try to keep a lot of those ideas and the way they teach for my own.
And what are like some of those things that you want to instill in your children, and some of those cultural things that you still want to keep to this day?
Well, I would really like to get a piece of land and have children grow up on the farm. I think that would be better than just living in the city. That way the children would learn to work for their own, and not just play and be on a cell phone all the time. Whereas I don't think that cell phone is in the wrong. I think cell phone can be used good. And then for my own, I would really want to work on a farm, whereas construction work is very good. Well, they really wanted me back. They always said that that if I would come back, I would have a better life, which at first I thought it would be that way. They said that they really want me and things will be much better. So I went back, and after that I found out that that it wasn't true what they were saying. They said that a lot of things would change in my life, would be easier, which it did in a way, but then still they are the racists, which will never get out of their ideas. They will always be racist, and that is where I just think that living out here would be an easier life.
Do you think it's a better life living out here? It's easier, but do you think it's more fulfilling, and do you think it's a wholesome life here?
Well, for me, I think living in Springfield is a very good place, which you don't spend the amount of money you spend out here. They don't have all those electricity bills and things like that. But then same time out here, I just think it's a good life out here.
In what ways would you say this is a good life here in the outside world?
Well, for one thing, I have a lot of friends, and then I don't have to worry about all those man-made Mennonite rules. Whereas I think a lot of those rules are good, but still a lot of them are just like man-made. They don't really mean anything.
Can you give us an example of what a man-made Mennonite rule is that doesn't make sense to you or that you don't agree with?
Well, one would be the way of dressing. They have to dress all the same. It can't be like I can dress a little bit different than you can, or like that. They all have their own there's the same patterns. They don't dress different. And for me, I don't think it's wrong to wear a belt or wear suspenders or something like that. And all the Mennonites there, they have to wear suspenders. They can't just go without.
For one, I want to teach them German, that they speak German. Because for me, it seems like German, if you speak German, you're like, everybody looks up to you. Not that I want to brag about myself that I know German or something like that, but it makes that a lot of people feel like your brain is better, or sometimes I don't even know what they think, but they think big of you, that you speak German. I don't know if it's just that German is a weird language that everybody likes to hear it, or that you're seeing big if you could speak it. So that's one I would want, and I would want them to grow up. As I have a business, I want to try to grow my business and have them learn right in my business how to do stuff, welding, lathe work, just from everything, so that if they want, they can just work with me and grow up doing the same job I do. But at the same time, if they get tired of my job and want to go look somewhere else, not that I have a problem with that, but I think it would help them if they grow up from small doing something that they will not learn in school, but they will learn it in their own hands. They have to operate this machine that they just grew up doing it themselves. That helps a lot.
And for like and how many children do you want to have?
That I don't know.
10, 11?
Not
Explain to us how courtship works in the Amish community, and how a girl and a boy end up getting married.
Well, that is a very difficult situation. If the boy is looking for a girl, he would tell his parents about it, and then his parents would go to the girl's parents, and the two sides of parents, they would talk things over, and if they feel okay with it, then the girl's parents, they would go to the girl and talk to her about it. And if depends, some parents would give the girl 2 weeks time for thinking, others maybe 3 weeks. And if the girl decides she wants it, she will tell her parents, and then the parents go to parents again as to talk about it, and then the answer finally comes to the boy. And then when the answer is yes, the girl's parents, they will invite the boy for an evening, maybe for dinner, and they will have a little bit of time together, but it is all in public. They can't go in like privacy or like that. And then if things work out fine and both sides decide that they want to have courtship, they meet every 2 weeks for like 2.5 hours every Sunday afternoon from 2 p.m. till maybe 4:30 or something like that. And then they do that for maybe 6 or 7 months. And if they still think that they want to get married, then they will tell the ministers of the church, the elders. So then they get their they are like, the ministers will tell it to the whole congregation, and if there's anybody that would say that these two should not get married, there's like opportunity to tell that.
Oh.
And then all these 6, 7 months, 8 months, they can't go like for a drive, or the boy can't take the girl for dinner or something like that, until this Saturday before the wedding. That is the first time that the boyfriend will take the girl, but then the girl's mom has to be present.
So you're telling us there's no kissing before marriage, there's no hand holding, there's no hugging and getting close to each other, generally speaking?
There is no hugging, no kissing, except there's like a handshake when the two come together every 2 weeks.
Okay, and you're saying they could only meet every 2 weeks?
Every 2 weeks.
Twice a month?
Yes, that would be twice a month.
And for how many hours?
2.5 hours.
Each time?
Yeah.
And and one of the parents have to be present?
Well, maybe not present, but they can't go like into the bedroom. They have their, maybe in the dining room or in a shade tree. So they have to be in public where somebody sees them.
So in this community, when they do get married, like, is there any divorces in this community?
It is not that I know of.
So if there's no divorces, does that mean like the practices that they have is very, very good in having a cohesive and just a good functioning family?
Well, they have quite a bit of family problems, whereas marriage problems. But I didn't really get to know a lot of marriage problems. Whereas marriage problems, they are usually just among the couple that has problems and the leaders of the church. They don't tell it like to anybody.
Okay, so Willis, like growing up, how was, if you make a mistake, if you do something bad when you're a young kid, how does Mennonites and Amish, how do they handle punishment, or at least in your community, how was punishment handled or discipline?
Well, sometimes we'd have to maybe clean up some garbage or something that we don't like, or sit down on a chair for half an hour, 15 minutes. They're a different one, and next time you'd maybe get a slap over your hand if you take something you're not supposed to, but often you'd have to sit somewhere if you do something, on a chair or maybe under the table or on a bench or out in a shade tree.
And
that way you will think about what you did and why you did it. If that kind of will clear your mind, that if you know you're not supposed to do something, you won't do it again, because if you're a small boy, you will never want to sit somewhere for half an hour as a punishment.
And so you are married now, correct?
Yes.
And are you married to a Amish girl or an outside girl?
Outside girl.
And how difficult was it for you to find a girl, and how did the girl's family accept you, and what did they think of you being a Amish kid?
Well, it wasn't hard for me. I felt like as I got to know the family, they liked me and I was accepted right away. I felt very good with that. I never felt like they didn't accept me, and it was really interesting. Well, I went there I don't even know, a couple times a week. Then they said I could come whenever I want. I was welcome all the time. So I went usually, for sure, Saturday and Sunday. Sunday sometimes almost all day. Then I was working in Spanish Lookout, so then my girlfriend would cook dinner for me and I'd go there for dinner every day. And beside that, we'd text and call.
You do want to keep some of the traditional things of like women cooking, of women just being supporting wives to the husband?
Yes, I think that's a good thing if your wife cooks. Not that she's tied to do it. I mean, men should always be there to cook as well and help in the house, because I think everybody could imagine them being tied to a job that's their job every day. You would get tired. So I think a husband should always be willing to help in the house, cooking, washing dishes, whatever it is.
Well, for me, I would be looking for a girl that would be willing to do housekeeping, cooking, and things like that. Whereas I think the husband should be willing to help wherever is needed.
And because Amish people do not divorce, what is your opinion? What do you want for your future, and what's your stance on that?
Well, I never want to get divorced because, one, if you're married, I think you should stay like that for the rest of your life, because you once fell in love and it's the person that you're with is the one you want to be with, to learn and do stuff together, whatever it can be, just as your wife should be as your helper, and be there by your side to help give ideas and just be your support. And I mean, divorce, I think it can be done if there's a lot of problem and they just probably both sides want to divorce. It should be done, because I think that's the right thing to do.
And Ephraim, do you think like a Spanish girl can understand your worldview? And do you think you could understand like where she's coming from and like her life and understand her culture? And does she think she can understand your culture and upbringing?
Well, I think if we would like sit down and talk things over and like that, I think we could come to a good conclusion about each other. Not just say, I want you and you have to give up your whole life and do as I want. I don't think that's the way a person should do. Like, if we both feel that we want each other and we want to get married, then I would say we should sit down and talk things over, and let's say maybe I will let this off of my lifestyle. I would let some things off and take some of her style or her way of thinking, and if she would say the same, I think it should work like that.
Beautiful. And you speak English, Spanish, Pennsylvania Dutch, Low German, High German?
I speak 2 different Germans fluently. The third one is a little bit rusty. English is good, and Spanish is a little bit rusty as well.
But your Spanish, you're improving very fast because you're working with a lot of Spanish people now?
Yes, Spanish is improving very fast. Like in Pennsylvania Dutch, let's say I want to work tomorrow.
Yes.
I will start at 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
We would say that ik wil mij geschaffen 6 uur.
And that is, I will go to work.
I will work tomorrow at 6 a.m.
In the next 5 to 10 years, what do you hope your life will be like?
Well, I would hope for my own business. Whereas I say working for somebody else is good, but then same time I would like my own business.
And can you say that to us in Pennsylvania Dutch?
I could probably try. Ik wil in de nächste 10 jaar wil ik weer mijn eigen business hebben.
And Low German?
Ik wil proberen in de nächste 10 jaar mijn geschäft zelfs gaan.
Tomorrow I haven't fully planned yet, because sometimes it's hard to plan, because if my phone rings, that means this job will come in or that job. So I haven't fully planned for tomorrow. But if nothing comes up more, I'll probably go and work on a house I'm doing right now, concrete.
Okay, perfect. And can you say that to us in Pennsylvania Dutch?
Ik heb nog net gepland voor mij, because ik kan never wissen wat voor job uitkomt. Of niks change, not zodat ik mij geschaft op een huis. Ik doe het right now, cement.
And can you say that to us in Low German?
Ik kan nog niet gepland voor morgen, wanneer wat opkomt, dan wil ik gewoon aan huis schaffen. Wat ik daar nu doe, is cement.
Willis, part of your life is working for yourself, or part of your income is working for yourself. So what do you do, and where in Belize can people reach you for any of your services?
I'm located in Armenia village, close to Belmopan. I do welding, and I do construction. I do mechanic, and there's like from everything. If you need a hand, always just contact me, and I can see. If I don't know, I find someone to help you.
And what is your contact information, if you're comfortable with that, or your email address?
I usually use WhatsApp. They can contact me at 620-0303.
Okay, and what is the last thing you want to say to perhaps any Mennonites watching this in the future, any just regular people from other countries, and what would you like them to like know about you or about where you come from?
Well, I don't know exactly to answer that one, but I mean, if someone wants to meet me in person, we'll just have to arrange a day and time. I could show them around from where I've grown up, stuff I've been doing, and what I do now. And I mean all over Belize. If they have any interest to go to places, I would be willing to show them around.
Actually, if people would want like to contact me, they could contact me on WhatsApp, and I would be willing to show them as well from where I grew up and things like that all over Belize, which I enjoy showing people things in Belize, because I know a lot of places like US, Mexico, they don't have the things that we have here in Belize. So I would be willing to show them around, take them to Mountain Pine Ridge, Springfield, where I grew up.
And where can they reach you?
In Armenia village near Belmopan.
Okay, and do you have an email address or any other contact?
633-0845.
And
WhatsApp.
what's like a message that you have for anybody in the world, like, or anybody in the future? Is there a final thing that you would just like to say, whatever you want it to be?
Well, I don't really know, but I guess not all of the people they really know what Mennonites are, Amish people, and whereas a lot of people they find that on internet, which the people in Springfield they are quite far over the world on internet already, and I think even I will be on internet as a Mennonite.
I didn't even ask you, what is a Amish person? What is a Mennonite person?
Well, the Mennonites, they come from Menno Simons, and then the Amish people, they actually come from this Jacob
Amen.
Yes, that is where the Amish people actually come from, whereas Mennonites they come from Menno Simons.
In your community in Springfield, what exactly is it? Because I'm very confused about it.
The ones in Springfield where I grew up, that would be more like the ones from Menno Simons.
So it's a mixture of Amish and...
Yes, there are a few Amish families living there, as they are working together.
And what do you think like the world doesn't understand about this community?
Well, they wouldn't understand all the lifestyle they have, whereas they have a very different lifestyle as the people outside. But then a lot of people they can't go without electricity, whereas this people in Springfield they don't have electricity.
And I don't think they also use any gas powered machines.
No, like all their machinery, sawmill and furniture machines, planer, table saw, jointer and all that is turned by horsepower.
And in Belize, are you guys the most like strict, or are you guys the most traditional Mennonite community in all of Belize?
I think there is one more that is like Lower Barton Creek.
Mm-hmm.
They are similar like Springfield, but I think they're a little more traditional.
Okay, in what way can they be more traditional if you guys don't use electricity or gas or?
Well, the people in Springfield, they use flashlights, but then it has to be the non-LED, and they have guns, single action shotguns, and then the others, the lower Barton Creek, they don't have flashlights and they don't allow guns.
So those are like really traditional, like.
Yes, they are really traditional, even more than the ones in Springfield.
And for both of you guys, like this community, where do you see it in the next 5, 10, 20 years? Where there'll be more people that's shunned and excommunicated? Do you think it will, what do you think it will be?
Well, I can't tell that for sure, but the way it looks to me, the next 10 years, as the last 10 years were, the next 10 years, it could be that they will probably be using some electricity already.
And what makes you say that?
The way they are following the world and doing things different than they did 10 years ago.
So what did they do? What did they not do 10 years ago that they do today?
Well, actually, 10 years ago they didn't allow their stuff to be brought till on the yard. It had to be on the outside of the community. So it would be from outside community till on the yard. It would be on horse and buggy. Whereas they do now the trucking deliveries all till on the yard.
Okay.
And I don't know, maybe the way it looks to me, the next 10 years it might be even that some of them might want to own their own vehicle.
And same thing for you, like where do you think the Amish community, Mennonite community in Springfield will be in the next 5, 10, 15 years?
Well, it's hard to say the way they have been changing, because when we moved to Springfield they would drive to Belmopan to buy their groceries, and now they hire someone to go buy the groceries. All their stuff they bring from Spanish Lookout, steel, pipes, anything they use for building, they bring until their yard. So according to all that stuff that changed, I do think they'll be changing a lot more, but I could be wrong that they'll stay where they're now. But I do think they'll be changing, that they will probably maybe not own their cars but have more drivers, and probably start with solar panels for light. When I left there, I was 18. They did not allow flashlights, but since I've been out, they allowed flashlights, battery watches, and guns. When I was there, nothing was allowed like that.
Do you think these rules that they have help make a better person, like a wholesome person?
In a way, yes, and the next way it doesn't, because then everybody wants a flashlight, but they're not allowed, so they'll have one, but they will use it when they're in the bush where nobody sees or something like that. So then you're still backing over the line. So in a way, it would be better if a lot of those rules they would not have, because the people would not need to know they don't have permission but still do it.
And what would you say, like, to the Mennonite children that is in the community or in other similar communities? What message do you have for them? And like, should they leave the community? Should they stay in the community? What would you advise them?
Well, I wouldn't really advise anybody to like do as I did, because I know I did a lot of bad things. But if there's somebody that feels convicted that he's not on the right path there, he doesn't feel like he is doing good there, he would rather want a better life, like living in society, I would say it's their own choice. But I have one cousin that's not very happy there.
In Springfield?
That is actually in Roseville.
Oh.
It's the same Mennonites, but they have like 4 different communities in Belize here.
Okay. And does he talk to you about maybe wanting to leave and how the outside world is like?
He talked to me a little bit about that, but then I think he rather wants to go to Canada, where the Amish are a little more
Open.
Yes.
Both of you guys look Mexican or Spanish. So what does the regular Belizean person think of you when they find out that you are a Mennonite?
Well, some of them, they don't believe it. They say they don't think it's true that we are Mennonites. Whereas when we explain them our history, then they have to believe it. But most people, when they see us, they would just talk Spanish because they think we are Spanish people. They wouldn't recognize us as half Mennonites.
And same for you. What does the Belizean people think when they see you?
Well, everybody always talks to me in Spanish if they don't know me, but I always just say I don't know Spanish because I don't know Spanish. I'm trying to learn it, but it seems it's kind of hard to learn it. But they always think I speak Spanish, but I say no. And they ask how. I say, well, I grew up as Mennonite, that's why. Then they ask, how are you dark skin? I say, well, my dad was dark skin, that's why we're then brown, because my mom was Mennonite, so we're brown in between.
Now that you have left for about 3 years, what about the outside world do you not like, or what things do the people of the outside world do that just you don't think it's good?
Well, for one thing, there are a lot of beggars. They always like to ask for $1 and maybe a shilling, or some of them ask for $2, $5, and that is one thing I don't like. But I can usually see if there's like a crippled person that I see that's not able to work, I would give him a shilling or $1. But a regular person just asking me for $1, I would ask him why he's asking for $1 or why he's not working and things like that. I wouldn't just give anybody $1 because a lot of people, if you give them $1, they will just end up, maybe if they have $2, they will go buy a few cigarettes or buy some beer or something like that. That's what most of the people do.
Well, one, I think the government should take care of that beggars, either give them a place to stay and work, and if they're crippled, well, then give them a place to stay where somebody takes care. I think that would help the country. And the government could do some improvements on roads. And right now where I live, I don't have water. They don't want to put the pipeline in yet, so I'm having some problem with that. Place like that, I think the government should help the locals a little more. But other than that, I kind of live by myself. I don't need to worry about other people. I'm trying to take care of myself, working, doing different jobs.
And is life better now, or is life better before?
Well, it's better now because I feel I have to be responsible myself, taking care. Since I got married, I have to take care of my wife as well, trying to take care of my property here, animals, take care of my business, trying to grow it. Whereas before I wasn't exactly responsible to anything. Like my dad was taking care of everything while we worked, but not that we were exactly responsible to take care of this or that. So I enjoy it the way it's now.
I actually like to be self-employed for my own, whereas I'm not fully self-employed yet. But then living back in Springfield was very good. But same time, I think life now is better than it was.
And do you think you can go back to Springfield, like deal with the horses and things like that?
Well, just personally for me, dealing with horses and animals, I could do that. It wouldn't be that would just be so far out of the way that I wouldn't be able to do it. I could do that. But then living under those rules, that is what I couldn't do.
But have you ever tried to go to any other Mennonite churches or Mennonite communities? Because they don't have the same rules as Springfield, but it's still the same religion.
I was visiting in Mexico. For 8 days I was in Mexico, and I didn't really find anything there that would be good. But there is a group in Canada that I was thinking about going there and see how they have it.
Well, this interview, this conversation with these two incredible brothers, Ephraim and Willis Perez, is done with. I hope you really enjoyed this video. These are two incredible people, and I hope if you come to Belize that you visit them, that you do business with them, and that you hire their services. Thank you for watching. Peace.